Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Citizen Sleeper, where today we have a couple of important things to do. Obviously, we got to meet with Fang, figure out what his whole deal is. But I think it is time to maybe really dig in on this survive thing, because our condition is starting to get low enough that it's going to inhibit our ability to do things. So yeah, let's talk to Fang first. But how do I track it on? There we go. There we go. Okay, so, Fang, what's up? Sleeper! Fang catches your attention as you approach the Havenage building, leaning against a bay door to the side of the entrance. You approach. Easier to come in this way. Security, all that. He gives you a look. You know. He slams a button and the bay creaks open, blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Fang inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses as it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators and diagnostic slates and things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. There is a chorus of hums that blends into a single wave of static, filling the dark corners of the room. Fang leans on a server stack and gestures around. You like it? I think we sort of this character being very much a people person, I think we sort of absorb his enthusiasm. Yeah, it's incredible. He smiles widely. I thought you'd say that. He taps a nearby server stack, which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove, all dredged up from this sea of systems we call the Eye. You wouldn't believe what this place runs on. He steps over to a towering block speckled with vents. Some of these systems are from the original station, Ash 1, the one Solheim built. We've had to invent new components, repair things we never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into existence. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they're seeing a concrete reality. But this place is a system in constant flux, decaying and growing, collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks, and you follow. Now, we're keeping this place alive, but also remaking it into something new, dragging it away from its corporate origins. He stops. Well, at least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines, humming all around you. And I know you can see this too, Sleeper. All these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I don't think so. I don't want to play our character as so receptive to people that we're trivial to take advantage of or whatever, but I don't think we have any particular reason to distrust Fang, so we may as well tell him that we have the eye for this place. Yeah, I can see it. And it makes sense, right? You're between here and there, between the people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon, and that's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, they seem to flicker, to realign, to follow your gaze. Fang notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you're on the run, though. No, you can see how it might not be. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place. Subsystems I can't see, access protocols lost to time and decay, secrets. A shitload of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place. Break off those last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice below the hum. Even in Havenage, there is old growth. Those whose roots trace back into those bad old days. You help me dredge up that past, and I'll see what I can do about that tracker of yours. He winks. What do you say, Sleeper? Well, I think that our Sleeper, desperate for community, desperate for friends. I'm in. Fang pumps his fist and claps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Fang passes you a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift, he smiles. It's a Solheim cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. You slot that into an old network gate, and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the nodes inside. He walks you back toward the front of the bay. You start by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that emulated mind of yours and see what's out there. Let's get a picture of how things are. The above, he nods at the ceiling, have granted me an acquisitions budget. I can pay you for whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the door button again. Keep it quiet and keep it clean, sleeper, and I'll see you soon. You step, blinking, back out into the passage, those flickering lights still in the back of your mind. Listen, punctuation's tricky. I'm not going to be like all on the game about its grammar all the time or anything. I'm just going to say this game has a lot of problems with sentence fragments and comma splices, and we're just going to move on. So now we can deliver data to Solheim data specifically to Fang, should we dig some up in the station networks, to help him figure out these systems. And I believe he pays us. He certainly implied he was going to pay us. I want him very much to pay us. But, oh hey, freighter came in. So we have the ability to help unload the contents. Freighter crew are eager to get their payload onto the Ort Exchange, and they'll pay a wage to anyone willing to help them. Danger tasks broadly pay better than risky or safe tasks, pretty obvious. And we are especially good at them. So that is a thing we're thinking about. We can also just buy garbage. We're only allowed to buy so much, but there are uses for this. We don't have any right now, so we're not going to worry about it. What we are going to worry about is following this drive. So you can see here the yellow dot indicates this is the next bit in this drive. We need to get our head around the layout of the Bright Market. And you could just explore if you were the kind of person who, say, was real bad with people. But that is extremely not us. Why wander when there are hundreds of people that live and work here? Just ask them for directions. So we get that guaranteed positive. And there you go. Critical actions always have big payouts. And we got an energy off of our Thrill Seeker, so that's cool. It's actually really cool. All right, we got a new drive. Let's examine our new locations before we do anything else. So we have discovered here the market itself. The flow of chits and components in the exchange is complex, but a sharp eye and some tight trades can net you a good margin. Unfortunately, this is really sort of a feeling, gambling kind of business. Don't know what to make of this. The Ort Exchange is always hungry for new hardware to buy up, break down, and sell off, so we can sell scrap components here. And if we do either of these things enough, we'll become trusted and gain access to the ship mind fabrication stack in the back of the market. Obviously, we have use for a fabricated ship mind, but this is not, I think, a super high priority for us. On the other hand, here we have a doctor. This is a priority. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway toward the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. Trying to look like a person who's trying not to bring attention to themselves. Maybe not the best strategy. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you're here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they've all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will, You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. And I think we're drawn to noticing things about people, right? It's trying to take our cues from the people around us. So let's have a look at that enforcer. The enforcer is looking down the corridor, and you dare to glance at him. His purpose is unmistakable. He's there to intimidate, to threaten, and, if necessary, to carry out those threats. His broad shoulders are framed with a metal exoskeleton. A couple of mirror-like implants sit below his eyes like mercury teardrops. Subsidiary sense input or aesthetic markers? You aren't sure. You also aren't familiar with the geometric blade-like tattoo on his arm, but you make a note of it. You avert your eyes when he looks back at the queue. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the Bright Market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above, and for a moment you are transfixed by the motion. "Come, sit," calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink, and then quickly regain their composure. "Please sit." They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. "Remain still, please." Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, and sadness unmistakably etched across their face. "How long have you been on the station?" they ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles." They nod. "It's good you came to me." They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. "Now, I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything." They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. "Your body is dying." They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. SNARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or, in your case, escaping, they built in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which SNARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. "Sound familiar?" Yeah, probably. Do we think... I don't necessarily think... So I think our character is probably more trusting than the character we played last time, but especially I think it tends to be the case that when someone else is in the lead of the conversation, we follow. So I'm not going to question them. I'm just gonna say yes, because we must have known how this works, right? I'm sure we had to receive regular injections before. Good, that may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. "I'm sorry," Sabine says, and you're unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or for everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights and no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm. And SNARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. "I know little of this is of use to you." They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. "I may be able to help." They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. "You saw Toshiro outside." You nod. "Well, he works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They're influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, and sew up their wounds." They look away. "But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance." Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive. But I think we can do it. This is a real don't look a gift horse in the mouth kind of moment, I think. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. "Yeah, let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead." You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. Okay, so Sabine will have tranquilizer probably in 3 cycles, which is fine. We're going to be barely functional in 3 cycles, but not unfunctional. Not totally wrecked. So this is still where we can meet people and explore the low end. Okay. So yeah, we didn't reveal any other sites except this one. Memphis is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron pocket as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. I feel like this is an engaged thing, right? I feel like we have no problem just getting in line for food. Please feed me. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, and a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually, it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Memphis speaks in a deep, even tone without looking up. First try's free. Hell yeah, thank you. I'm going to say this right now. We haven't so far been doing too bad on money, especially since we are able to spend a die to potentially regain 3 energy, which is a better deal than you usually get for a die, considering the cost of food and everything. That said, stabilizer is expensive. Stabilizer is like very expensive. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks, the earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Memphis says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. Okay, yeah, he wants us to tell him a story. Fair enough. Feels like the least I could do. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, and the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you. You're unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually you trail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time we can talk some more. He smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against the button on the burner's side and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok. Before you turn back to the alley, you notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy, delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. So yeah, the fungus gives us 3 bars of energy, and yeah, I believe it costs 15, so it's the same 5 credits per point of energy that we get from the food at the bar. But eating here will unlock further things to do here. I think that's actually true at the bar as well, isn't it? Have we actually gone to the Overlook? Okay, so we can spend 10 cryo to get a ration that is worth 2 energy. We can get a drink to build up the ability to be a regular here, and I don't remember if getting a drink gives you energy. If it does, I'm sure it's just 1. But still, that's like not that different of a rate, right? So if we can get 3 bars of energy for a decent die by sunbathing, then we would need to earn at least 3 bars of energy from, or we would need to earn at least 15 cryo from that die in order for it to be an equivalent amount by buying food. And I don't think that's totally impossible. I think some of the successful actions give you 15. So here we can either cut the winter light apart as Dragos wants, or we can spend some time investigating it. I believe this is what we did last game, and I don't think it didn't seem to help Dragos very much. So I would like to actually salvage it for him this time. I think this character is very focused on like debts owed, the building of community and such. It's nice to have friends, and also sort of a head down, do the work in front of you type. That said, I don't love throwing a 3 at a danger here, so let's maybe go find something else to do with these weak dice. We can haul materials. That's not very exciting. What are the options on the ambergris? We can throw a 3 at a risky hull repair. However, if we get too many bad outcomes on this, we will push this grounded clock forward rather than the ship-shaped clock, and make it impossible for the ship to ever leave, potentially. I don't really know what'll happen. That didn't happen last time. I'd like to avoid it happening this time. My guess is, with this being risky, I'm guessing that a neutral result probably doesn't add points to grounded. I don't know, maybe. What about you? Do you want my 3s? Not really. We could just do more exploring the low end, I suppose. What else do we have up? Oh, right, and there's the Founder's Gap, which is the way you get to the Greenway. To reach the Greenway, you need to pay for a pass, a practice invented by the Spacers moored here. They call it Founder's Ferry. On the other side of the Greenway is the new content. So I am eager to do that, but obviously 150 cryo is a pretty serious amount. Yeah, I think if we're just burning bad dice, let's burn them here. There's no, obviously it's still possible for us to get negative outcomes here, but at least there's no negative clock to worry about. Okay, that's just minus energy. That's annoying more than anything. And the 2 is even more likely to come out negative than the 3 was. So... shoot, we really don't have a lot of good things to do with the 2. Oh, sorry. That's right. So the hacking nodes. The hacking nodes work a little bit differently than the other... Okay, yeah, there's a thing. They work like dice actions. I might argue they are dice actions, but they have a special kind of input. To unlock them, you have to put the correct kind of die in. And if your interface skill has a bonus, then it can give you a wider range of dice. But since our interface is +0, we just have to match exactly. And the thing is, the interface nodes on the network want low dice, mostly 1s and 2s. So this is a thing we can do with our low dice. We can unlock this key node. Where is the thing that we got the cipher for? Here we go. The Solheim Gate. This gate conceals a network of systems which have been untouched since the Solheim collapse. Let's just pop that open. Alright. Access through gate S7 lets us see some Solheim nodes. This network storage holds corporate records, most of them corrupted by a failed system purge, so this is the data that Fang is looking for. There is a 2 out here. A 1, a 2, and a 4. Also, we can just grab data off of random agents walking around and potentially... Oh, this will give us an encrypted key if we hack it, I believe. Not a huge priority. Yeah, okay. I think I'm just going to hit the Solheim Gate. Seems like a fine use of a 2. No, not this one. Solheim Daemon attempts to protect this node, squeaking out protective protocols like a mantra. Well, let's just wander right past all of that noise. Alright. There we go. That's something we can probably sell. Right, Fang? Because you're absolutely paying me? Yeah, 15 cryo. Pretty good, actually. Fang's eyes light up as the data is transferred over. He hands you a stack of chits and waves you off. You know, I really get the sense that he's concerned for my well-being. Okay, let's go ahead and take a break here. And our hunted clock fills slowly. So we're going to be on 2 dice for a little while. But at least, you know, at least they're coming up okay. Let's get in here and help out Dragos with that 6. You work your way into the ship, systematically separating and cutting. Piece by piece, the ship starts to come apart. Okay, so 16 cryo for a die is actually like the best thing you could be doing with your dice, but also obviously it's risky. It's pretty it's a pretty risky one. I kind of want to keep pressing for the low end as well. We get progress as long as we don't roll the negative, right? I feel like 4s, 5s, and 6s probably can go into the shipyard and everything else can go in here. Yeah, it's taking forever. By the way, just so we're clear, if I manage to... When we get our vial of stabilizer, it will fill the bar all the way, so we will be rolling 5 dice from then on. That's going to help us, you know, do this fast enough to actually beat the clock. Because I know right now it doesn't look like we're probably going to do that. Okay, not amazing. I think I'm willing to go ahead and throw a 4 at this. Oh no, wait, sorry, this is an engineering check, not an engage check. Oh, that's risky. I'm gonna go ahead and do it since we're about to be handed a vial of stabilizer anyway. If we take like a condition hit or something here, it's not really a big deal. Okay, negative outcome. You know, we still got the 16 cryo. That's actually pretty good. And then, so with a 2, we don't have the ability to break into any other data that we know we want. But what we do have is sunbathe as though this was a 3, which is pretty likely to give us 2 bars. I don't know. Is that the best we can do with it? I can just hack for random data, but that's not super compelling, right? Hold on a second. Let me try something. Let's get a drink. You're unsure if your frame can metabolize alcohol, but this fungal drink fermented along the greenway seems like a good test. So do I, in fact, get energy from this? Yes, 1. Okay, and a point of overlook regular. So I'm pretty sure that if we rest at 1 energy, we don't actually starve. I think we might be able to get away with like doing that with our thing, and then so we should throw the die somewhere else. Oh, did we get? Okay, I guess we hit a threshold and we've unlocked one thing in the low end. We discovered Mingi Express. Mingi is it's a noodle joint. Mingi has a kelp stack in the basement, and he makes noodles from the seaweed. He doesn't pay much, but he'll feed anyone who does a shift. Oh, that's actually probably a good use of a 2. We bump it up to a 3. Or we can deliver noodles to the nameless units of the low end, which takes guts and a certain fearlessness when it comes to asking for tips. And it is worth noting that that's an engage, so there's a chance we'll get energy every time we do it. Do we know what that chance is? We do not. I don't like this. Please write numbers. When you have a chance something, just write a number behind the, tell me how much. How much chance? Let's throw a 2 at this and see what the actual result is. So on a positive, you get 3 energy and 8 cryo. That's phenomenal. That's a really powerful outcome. All right, and then theoretically tomorrow we get our, we get access to stabilizer. If I remember correctly, vials are 100 cryo each, so, we're not quite set yet, but we're close enough. A good day working in the shipyards would get us there. Or a good day working in Dragos' Bay, rather, would get us to 100. You might get the first one for free. Maybe. Let's hope so. The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants, like a cat's eyes in the dark of the corridor. He nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark, and you push through the sheeting into the surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with a case open in front of them, a set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how Yadagan... They trail off. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if this is really what it appears to be. And I'm the test case. That seems to be the case. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They gesture for you to sit on the bed. Now, the stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in a transplant operation, in that it stops your body from rejecting the unfamiliar part of itself. In the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups, which over time are identified by your body as foreign material, and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of the would-be stabilizer. However, unlike an immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it re-encodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains, which act as passcodes within your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeping your frame from rejecting all of its own organs. Passcodes? In very basic terms, yes. They sigh. Look, what matters here is that the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. They glance away. At least, if the stabilizer is genuine. The only way to know for sure is to inject the vial. They begin readying the syringe. Look, I'll start with a small dose to limit the risk. How sure are you? I'm working with best guesses here, but the case, the vials, it looks authentic. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe, and you watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection, but with little response. A sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm with incredible speed. Your vision goes white, and when it returns, Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness. Muffled noises like an argument heard from underwater. Prickling waves of cold. When you sit back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? Yeah. Well, the stabilizer is genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how Yadagan acquired a case of this stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. Look, you should rest some more, but you're gonna have to do that somewhere else. They gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods toward the case. And I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You're gonna have to pay for the next one. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved or shifted. You wonder how long you've been out. Sabine? Nothing comes free, sleeper. Remember that. You manage to get to your feet and wander out into the hallway. The queue stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes you with a glare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the station spinning beneath you. Okay, yes, that was a full refill, and future vials are 100 cryo each. Okay, so that's not that bad. We're fully healed and not that far off of being able to buy another one. I'm actually feeling pretty okay about this condition, this situation. So we are for sure throwing a 6 at cutter salvage here. 2 points of yard clearance, big deal. I think I'm going to throw the 3 at it as well. Maybe that's foolish. Yeah, the negative outcome there is really harsh. It's wild that we've rolled, we've hit the 25% twice in a row. But I guess we will deal. And now we get 5 dice. God, losing a point of condition when you're at the top of the meter feels really bad. 5 dice, and hardly any of them are worth using for this. Really awful. We've got some time left on Dragos' nerve. Maybe we hold off with these 3s. Maybe we use these elsewhere. We could probably try to push on block maintenance. Yeah, let's see. I believe you can't lose condition on a risky, even with the negative outcomes. And obviously loss of energy is not a real concern here, so I feel like this is pretty safe to do. Okay, positive outcome actually gives you energy. You refit the long broken fans of the family's air filters. They insist you join them for dinner, and the children are delighted by your presence. Yeah, okay, I guess that's cool. So, with the 1, we can crack another one of these Solheim gates. This node is leaking corrupted contractor lists from the early days of the system's palladium rush. That seems valuable, I think. As you drift back from the node, something latches onto you. A thread strung tight around you. It tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver, its source somehow both distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Entity unknown, astringent, processing. I think we struggle. I think we fight back against being... I don't even know what this thing is doing, but whatever it's doing, I'm fighting back against it. You struggle against the thread, and it tightens in response, a glittering garrote. Please hold. The thread around you thickens until it is a ring, a cylinder, a tunnel of light circled around you. It is blinding for a moment, and then it is gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature, in front of you. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What are you? The shape paces around you on lithe legs, though there is no ground here to pace on. Entity, identify. Origin, serial, cadence. The figure faces you expectantly. Okay, so this is one of those situations where I was like, listen, our character's not 100% credulous. Sometimes we're not going to share information for our own good. This feels like one of those times. I just stay silent. Refusal. The figure's strange head rotates. Brackish signature. Of and not of. A tempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head. Thick, snaking, vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach with intent. And I just tell them not to. Have some confidence. Stop. The figure halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity, your identity is unknown. We only seek to correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? Sorry, I'm a person? Incorrect. You are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste. The one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. I don't understand. An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent, and I don't have a lot of options here, so I'm just going to strike it. You lash out with all your force. Not a physical strike, but a focusing, a spike of interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, and separates. And I wake up. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light, shaking with fear. Okay, so maybe we want to be careful how much time we spend in cyberspace. And this little Hunter meter that we can see when our eye is closed, obviously, informs us what the deal is with that. So the merchant freighter has showed up. We can buy ship mined fragments or haggle over prices to allow us to buy ship mined fragments more efficiently, I guess. Obviously, we have a use for a ship mined. I'm not going to worry about it right now. What am I going to worry about? What am I going to do with this one? Yeah, maybe we want to go make noodles again. A 2 at least has a 50% chance of a neutral outcome. Yeah. And this is a safe thing to do that we are good at and that yields something we care about. Although I guess in this situation, +1 energy was actually worthless. Well, I don't know what else I would have done with that die, though. Okay, I mean, I'll take 4s to Dragos' yard. Come on, just show me a positive. Okay, neutral outcome is fine. All we need is not negative. Okay, there we go. The hull puts up some resistance, but you manage to push through just before your shift is up. As history or no, this ship is salvage. As Dragos always says, break it down, move it on. And Dragos is seeming increasingly nervous about our presence in the yard, but we managed to resolve this before he lost his nerve having us here anyway. The final pieces of the Winter Light sit in neat piles waiting for the collection shuttle from Havenage. Dragos has managed to sell the remaining pieces to the shipyards, a fact that's hard to forget as he's been telling you about it for the past 2 cycles. All that remains is for Havenage to come and collect. When you look around the yard, transformed from when you first arrived. The mostly repaired drones flit back and forth, no longer buzzing unevenly or lost in dark corners. And the scrap is sectioned, sorted, the system that you and Dragos have put into place over the past cycles, paying off. As you look, you notice the glow of pale light from the office by the entrance, that rundown cab of a building which houses all the records and spare equipment. Dragos must be inside. You get to your feet and walk over to find out when the shipyard collection crew will be here. I feel like we should knock. Sleeper, come in. You swing open the door and walk in. Dragos is sitting at the small metal desk. The shipyards told me they'd be here soon. Then they'll hand over the chits and we're set. He writes something with a stylus on his slate and then shuts it off. Of course, we should talk about a bonus. He stands and turns to face you, his face placid. Look, I don't know when the next job is coming in, but this should tide you over for now. He opens his hand to reveal a stack of chits. And then I take them. Dragos presses the chits into your hand. I've done well by you, and you've returned the favor. He straightens up and clears his throat, and you realize he has prepared whatever he's about to say. These chits are for you to take and do what you will with them. They're from me, and they're the last I'm going to give you. He pauses. There's no more work for a sleeper in this yard. He folds his arms. I'm sorry, but that's it. You stay in the container as long as you need, but the yard's done with you. He turns away to his terminal. What? Sorry, what do you mean? Don't press me, Sleeper. This is for your own good. The glassy apertures on Dragos' headset betray no emotion. You need to stay away, Sleeper. He pauses, considering his words. Trouble is going to follow you here. Trust me. What do you know? Dragos kicks at the floor, frustrated with himself. I'll not be saying any more, Sleeper. Dragos suddenly grabs you by the shoulder and drags you out of the office into the yard. He turns you to face a stack of pieces from the Winterlight, dissected, cut down, totally unrecognizable as a ship. You came through that, Sleeper. That should have been you, chopped and stacked. His hand trembles on your shoulder. And this is what happens here. We cut down broken machines and move them on. Well, I didn't cut you down, but I'm sure as hell moving you on. Moving you on before whoever killed that ship out there comes to kill me. What, kill you? Kill both of us! He shakes his head. And these ships, they didn't get decommissioned. They didn't break down in dry dock. You think they'd look like that if they did? Someone ended them. That means someone tried to end you, Sleeper. And I'm done waiting for them to turn up. We've had our fun, now it's time. He gives you a little shove. Go on. He turns and walks back to the office. That's it, he shouts and goes inside. The silence hangs in the air and you leave with your pockets filled with clinking chits and a strangely hollow feeling in your chest. Yeah, that's obviously quite a bummer. That does put us at more than enough money to buy our way across the ferry, which I am definitely going to go ahead and do. I'm sure we can get back to 100 like pretty quickly for the stabilizer if we need to. A heavily tattooed spacer takes your chits and tells you to prepare. She'll be waiting at the edge for your arrival. I do think it's a little strange that there are these, like, things are broken up in these different pieces that you have to, like, use actions to go back and forth. You'll see as we traverse them, it's always, like, a little clumsier than you'd like it to be. As you step out into the passageway, someone barrels into you from behind, sending you stumbling down the corridor. As you turn to see an unfamiliar spacer laden with heavy gear. She steadies herself, staring you down as if daring you to respond. Excuse me? She squints at you, shaking her head before setting off down the corridor. I'm sorry for her. A second spacer smiles at you apologetically. She's on a mission, and when she's on a mission, they shrug. Well, it's okay. It's not a problem. They smile. You're sweet. Peek. Ash stands further down the corridor, glowering at her friend. She chops at the air, pointing down the corridor to whatever end she's rushing to. Peek raises their eyebrows at you. Ash, please, do you want everyone on this station to hate us? Ash hardens. They want to hate us. They can hate us. She drops her hip. I'm not exactly seeing much love as it is. We're lucky we got through before they set up that damn cordon. Wait, cordon? What? Peek gestures in your direction. See, they don't even know what you're talking about. The station isn't Hawthorne. Not everyone has to follow corporate protocol. Ash sighs. I'm not saying they're part of the administration. She jerks her head in your direction. But I am saying we need to get these supplies to the Briar before someone starts asking questions. Oh, can I help? Peek smiles shyly. See, Ash? Help. Isn't that exactly what we need right now? Peek. Esh rolls her eyes. Peek ignores her. We're with the refugees, the ones Havenage have cordoned off from entering the station. Eshe interrupts. The ones that are being quarantined in makeshift vessels that barely make it to the eye to begin with. The ones that your station administrators have called an existential risk and are running out of supplies while their right to safety is being debated by people with no stake in their future. Okay, so let's just get like a tiny bit real here. She quickly looks away, annoyed at her own outburst. Peek sighs. She's right. People are trapped out there, and they turn to Esh. We understand that this is a big problem for the Eye. Hundreds of refugees and more ships turning up each cycle. They hold a hand up to stop Eshe from interrupting. But Esh turns away, her burning anger a palpable force in the close quarters of the corridor. They need supplies, and after everything they've been through, the quarantine isn't helping. Well, that's terrible. As she looks back at you, her fierceness fading. Peek, please, as she gathers herself and the supplies. Ashley, we need help. Just like the refugees needed us, we need others too. Peek turns to you. Come find us. The climbing briar is docked at the broken spoke, past the greenway, in the wastes. We have a good view of the cordon, though we're keeping our distance for now. Come help us. They squeeze your hand. As she turns to leave, and Peek follows, waving goodbye. A moment later, as she shouts back down the hall corridor, and don't bother coming empty-handed. You want to help? Show us. Bring supplies or don't come at all. And with that, they disappear around the corner, Asha already picking up speed as Peek calls for her to slow down. A refugee flotilla? Where are they coming from? Why now? Each time you think you begin to understand this place, something changes. Okay, so there's a whole new... Yeah, you need to access corporate pharmaceuticals. No, this is not the new thing. Here we go. Flotilla aid. This is the new one. Ash and Peek need help gathering supplies for the flotilla. Can I just... No, you don't turn them in here. Here, let's collapse this for a second. I guess I'm not allowed to look any further down. I mean, I guess that makes sense. You use the ferry if you want to go down. But I was just kind of curious if we could see where the node was for this new thing. We've also discovered the Greenway up here. Exploring the Greenway is unlike any other place on the Eye. Its overgrown chambers defy mapping. So we can just spend some time wandering around, or we can try to, map this place out via instinct and whatever. Obviously, this is much more likely for us to do, but not this turn. I'm not putting two into a danger thing. We have the commune. We can become a member if we do enough work around the commune to show that we've earned it. I don't know that that's really my character's kind of thing. And then over here we have the busted up agricultural systems. Out here at the edge of the habitable parts of the Eye, everything is scrap. The trick is finding components that are still usable and are relatively safe. Still usable and staying safe. The components are usable and safe. Also, I have to stay safe. Words. Can you tell? End of the day. Again, leery of using a 2 on a danger, even with the +1 from Endure, but I am curious about maybe spending some time out there, given that it's a thing we should actually be good at. I think for the moment, let's head back. Let's cross back over to the Rim. I mean, Mingi gives us a pretty decent use of 2s. We also have this tea house that we've discovered. It has a Tavla room, little board game thing. Serious, high-stakes only play, reliant on your intuition. Not super great for us. And Yatagan Enforcers paying low-end residents for information on Havenage movements. So if we go scrape some data, which we totally could, some data rather, that could be how we spend a couple of 2s. I don't really know what else to do with them. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to use them here. An off-skill risky and an on-skill danger. Seems like a bad combination. You know what? I'll tell you what. I think I'm going to call this here for right now. I will figure out what I want to do with these dice tomorrow. So that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I am so pleased that we were able to make contact with the new storyline so quickly, and it is definitely something I will be putting a lot of effort into pursuing in the days to come. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.